Hello again, and welcome to Winning with the Wrangler at Dick Powell's Leadership Corner, brought to you by Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training and Development, where our passion is building leaders of today and tomorrow. Leaders, the information on today's program was gathered from many different places and many different people. So if you hear yourself in a conversation today, please remember it is not all about you. Today, I'm going to start off with something that really came to me in a different manner. And I'm going to share it to you because I believe it's that important. I was listening to a speaker speak. And it's a downfall of other speakers. We all critique one another all the time. But I often find that I learn something every single time. And this time I did. This leader went on to talk about that leaders are among the living. And I thought about it for a couple of minutes. I thought, what is he talking about? The leaders are among the living. What he was saying is that sometimes followers are really not living and they just haven't laid down yet. Now, the reason he went on to go on about this, I thought was quite interesting. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. He said that what really set leaders apart from the living and the non-living, it is a kind of funny way to look at it. He said that the ones who are not living, the ones who are not, they're stuck. And when he started talking about being stuck, I started to realize that these are people that, yes, you and I have all worked with, for, around. Maybe they're even in your own family. He said on to say that, leaders are among the living, not among the stuck. And he went on to say those who were stuck in the past. Now, I'm not saying leaders don't like to look at the past, because they do. Leaders look at the past to learn from it. They look at past achievements and celebrate. They look at past, failures to learn from. And that's really what they do. But the big difference is leaders look at things where they've maybe made a mistake, maybe done something in error. They ask themselves, what did I learn from that? And what would I do different? And those two questions keeps them from being stuck and not moving forward. I thought it was a great way to start our conversation today. Leaders, where do you find yourself being stuck? Is it stuck at something in your personal life? Is it stuck at something in your corporate life? Is it something that you're stuck, but you're really not? That's where we get all wound up by really putting too much time and pressure on ourselves, saying, gosh, I shouldn't do that. I can't do that. And all those negative things come out. And our brain really doesn't know positive from negative. It just knows what you put in it. What we've found, though, is what you put in is what comes out. And that's the important part. So staying stuck in the past means we just can't move forward. Now, that's a real shame. Not only that, it's a really waste of talent and energy. So, leaders, if you're working with people, you're going to find that all of us, from time to time, get stuck. Now, as leaders, I believe it's one of the things that we're called to do is because we've taken the time to build those relationships and we realize that someone is stuck. Work with them, coach them, mentor them, help them through the process of being unstuck and becoming leaders among the living. It just made sense to me. Now, they went on to really do that whole thing about being stuck in the past for nearly an hour, and they had a lot of good points, but I came across some other things. Stuck on themselves. Have you ever known a leader that had so much ego that they could only see themselves and only talk about themselves, and they were so stuck on themselves that they really couldn't see anyone around them, and everyone around them became invisible? All right, now put up just a little bit of thought, because I know all of us have been around someone like that. And leaders, I think sometimes it's easy to get caught up in that. I think we sometimes get so in the moment, so in the time, that we get so caught up. We like the accolades. We like someone telling us we're doing a good job. We really enjoy it. And I believe that's almost one of the leadership things we need to really watch out. Now, I'm pretty fortunate. I've been married 46 years, and my wife, Miss Robin, when I get stuck on myself, boy, she wastes no time in telling me. And that's a good thing. You see, because I get blindsided when I get stuck on myself, and I lose sight of the things around me that are important. So I believe the leaders are among the living. They're not stuck on themselves. Makes sense to me. Now, the next thing I wrote down as I was listening to this gentleman, I wrote down leaders are among the living, not always stuck by comparison or comparing themselves with someone else. The keeping up with the Joneses syndrome has been around for a long time. I remember my dad, when we were all living at home, there was my father only would allow us to buy Chevrolets. And in our house, we had 4 young people and 2 adults. So there were 6 Chevrolets in the driveway. And I remember the guy down the street bought a brand new Chevrolet. And my dad, who was a mechanic, we only ever drove cars that came through the shop that someone didn't want anymore, and my dad would fix them, and then we get to drive them. He really took offense to this man outdoors polishing that thing all the time. He wasn't any better or any worse or anything else, but the keeping up with the Joneses really became a real thing for my family. Well, then I started to realize that everything else in the world was a comparison. We were compared at school. We were compared at home. We were compared in the middle of things. Everything was a comparison against the next person. And then I went somewhere and I learned this little thing that really set me on my ear. It was in Cub Scouts, and remember the lady, the leader said, "Do your best, not someone else's, yours. And if you do your very best, you will always be a success." And I really started looking at things differently after that. But it made an impression on me that I still talk about it even at this time. So when I wrote this down, that leaders are among the living, not among the stuck comparing. You see, it takes so much time and energy to do so, and does it really matter other than you? I don't think so. Now, there are times when we need to look at some things. If we're in sales and we maybe need to look at numbers, or we need to do some things, and there is some comparisons on comparison charts. But if you spend your whole time comparing yourself against the guy sitting next to you, that's a lot of wasted time and energy. Do your best. I'll tell you what, every time I interview a leader who I believe is a success, that's the big thing. They're genuine and they're themselves. They don't compare themselves to anybody else. They know only have to compare themselves to themselves. I think that's a good way to live. Now, I went on to add another one to this. You see, leaders are among the living, not among the ones stuck making excuses. Have you ever known someone who has done nothing but make excuses one after the other? It was always someone else's fault, someone else's turn, it was always someone else. And then, they were always in that wishing mode. Well, I wish I had that, I wish I had this. Or they were in if. If I could do this, if I could do that. And there's always an excuse. Well, here's what I want to tell you. Leaders, excuses are just that. They're excuses. They are not solutions. Now, everybody messes up from time to time, makes some bad decisions, maybe makes a bad call, and makes something doesn't work right. Now, you have two choices. If you're a really great leader, you're going to look for a solution. And then you're going to ask those questions. What did I learn from this, and what would I do different? But if you're that other person who is stuck, you're going to make an excuse. It's going to be somebody else's fault. Somebody else should have done something somewhere and been involved. You know, that's just not how life works, is it? And think about how all those different pieces and parts. When you hear someone make an excuse, ask them the question, do you have a solution for that opportunity? You see, you can either make a solution or you can make an excuse. One uses imagination and curiosity, and one uses, well, I'm going to say it, laziness. It's really quicker, faster to make an excuse. Blame it on somebody else. Then take it upon yourself and say, I need to make this right. What do I need to do to make it happen? You know, when I talk about these things, sometimes it just kicks my funny bone. But I'll tell you what, these are important things as leaders. Now, just so far, this is what we've covered. Okay? Leaders are among the living, not among the ones stuck in the past, stuck on themselves, stuck comparing themselves with somebody else, or stuck making excuses. Let's look at this next one, though. They're not among the living, but they're stuck not learning. Leaders, we are an exceptional group. Now remember, I believe everyone is a leader. I believe everyone can be, should be, ought to be, can and will and do. There are some things that set apart great leaders. And one is they don't rest on their laurels. They're always learning. They're always going to a seminar. They're reading a book. They're listening to someone on the bestseller. They're doing something. They believe in ongoing continuous learning that, well, quite frankly, I know several people who are like me, and I know we're called we're called kind of crazy, that we're probably reading more than one book at one time and discussing it with all those around us. You see, that's what makes it happen. You know, sharing knowledge is a good thing. So they're not stuck in the not learning mode. When someone tells me, hey, I read all I wanted to when I was in college and I'm not reading anymore, that's probably not the person I want to follow. And I'm going to encourage you not to either. Now, leaders are among the living, not among the ones stuck on lost dreams. You know, dreams are something that we all have. The ones who become great leaders take those dreams and put action to them and turn them into realities. But even then, sometimes those dreams, well, they just weren't realistic. And when we start to really look at them and do the research and get prepared, we realize that this really wasn't something we wanted to do or could do or ought to do. And so we moved them out and we brought something else in. There is no shame in that. The shame comes in when you have worked on a dream, but you haven't added action to it, and it hasn't come to fruition. There's no accomplishment, and you get stuck there. Well, I tried it once, and by golly, it didn't work, so I'm not trying again. And if you're laughing right now, I want you to understand that those are words I've actually heard from people. Well, I tried it once, and I said, well, did you like steak? You know, did you like it the first time? Well, no, somebody overdid it or underdid it or something. Well, did you ever have another one? Well, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, Dreams are just dreams unless they're action, and then they become reality. Now, this one is important. Leaders are among the living who have a vision. They're not stuck in the mode where I had a vision or never had a vision at all. You see, leaders don't get stuck in that. Having a vision is looking at your future picture. And there's lots of parts and pieces that go into that. It's where you're living, how much money's coming in, who you're with, what kind of clothes you're wearing, what are we doing for fun. There's a bunch of pieces. But here's the thing. People spend more time planning their vacation than they do their lives. And that really sets the tone for the vision. What is it that you really, really want to do, want to accomplish, want to be? Yes, I understand. Taking the time to really put some thought into that, it's weighty and it's heavy, and it takes time. The encouragement here from this old guy is that I'm trying to say to you, don't get stuck there. Now, my vision with ages and stages, I will tell you, in some forms has changed very little. And in some forms, changed a lot. My mission in life has never ever changed. Helping people help themselves become whatever they can be, to the best of their ability. That part never changed for me. But the vision did, where we were going to live, for example. When we were younger, we were going to have that cabin in the woods. And as we had some ages and stages, we realized that the house we're in is pretty darn good. And we can rent anything we want in the woods, or we can just go camping. You see, that part did change. But the other part of who I was going to be with, how we were going to be living, what we were going to be doing, those things didn't change. You see what I'm saying? So don't get stuck. Keep moving on. Now, these two at the bottom that I wrote down, I have to tell you that one of the things that scares me a little bit in today's time and energy, that people get stuck with no curiosity and stuck with no imagination. I've seen it happen more than once where a person who did have curiosity and imagination really did try to put it into place, and unfortunately they were in a opportunity that where people didn't see it, and they were put down and pushed over and pushed to the back, and so it came to a point where almost they lost that ability for imagination or curiosity. Being stuck there, though, again, I believe it is our job as leaders, if you see someone who is being stuck and they're just unable to create, no creativity, they're unable to even have the slightest imagination, the slightest ability to put a dream into place. You see, I believe that this thing of leaders are among the living. I believe we're only among the living if we help those who are among the dead who haven't laid down, seeing that there's a different way, by mentoring, by coaching, by building a bridge, by building relationships. Any of you, if you've listened to me more than once, have probably heard me say that leadership is all about relationship building. You see, if you're not building the relationship, you're just out there by yourself. My friend John Maxwell says this: if you think you're a leader, stop and turn around every once in a while. If you're out there by yourself, you're just taking a walk, because you're not leading anybody. The thing that I really got from today's lecture, from this gentleman who I really truly respect. And he got all hung up on this being, stuck in the past. Where I kind of deviated from my thought process with him is he didn't really provide a lot of ways to help someone get out of that situation. Now, there are times when you need someone in a professional counseling situation to help someone move on. But many times, this thing stuck in the past could be something that happened at the office last year that was, in your mind, you didn't even know about or think about because you were the leader. But to them, it was a traumatic event. And so the question comes down is, did you listen to them when they tried to tell you that they were going through something, that they were stuck? They couldn't get past that hurdle of what happened last year, whether it was something someone said or something else. They have taken that whole year and this thing has built up inside them. And now the negativity was starting to come out and affect their work and affect the way that they interacted with other people in your organization. And all of a sudden now they were listed as a troublemaker. And all of a sudden they landed up in your office and you're going, hey, I don't get it. You were never this kind of person before. What's the deal? But you had a whole year to really take care of it. And now it was at its peak where you were really going to have to take care of it. And as a leader, working with an individual that is going through this type of thing, who's stuck in the past of something that happened at work, they're already in their flight and fight remarks world. And you're lost because you have no idea what's going on. So leaders, it's our job, it's our duty to dig into it and find out all the parts and pieces before we make a decision. When I was first in leadership, I have to tell you that there were times where I didn't take the time to really find out all the parts and pieces before I made a decision. And I'm going to give you the unfortunate news that there was times that I let people go who I could have worked with. And once I did the research, it was already too late. Encourage yourself as a leader. When you get up in the morning, when you go to your organization, your company, ask yourself, is there someone stuck? And if so, what are they stuck in? Are they stuck in the past? Are they stuck on themselves? Are they stuck in the comparison factor where they're always comparing themselves with someone else? Are they stuck in the land of excuses? You see, we as leaders can actually do things about that. We can actually help them through those situations. It's our job. We're called to do that. The thing about not learning, well, that goes back to people do what people see and people repeat what people hear. And if they don't see you as the leader doing ongoing continuous learning, you're stuck. And when you're stuck, your folks are stuck. Your people are stuck because they see and do what you do. If it's not important to you, it's not going to be important to them. That's why this thing of building relationships and staying in tune of what's going on around you is so dead blame important. This gentleman who is speaking today, even though I respect him and I'll have a long conversation about this because I believe that he could have added to this. Here's some how-tos, just like I'm doing with you. The how-to always starts with building the bridge. It always starts with building the relationship. And yes, I know, leaders, relationships can be messy. They can be time-consuming. They can just be flat irritating. The difference is they're always going to be worth it. So you'll be able to recognize when someone is stuck in the past. stuck on comparing, stuck on excuses, stuck on not learning, stuck where they have lost their ability to dream, to really have curiosity and to imagination. You're going to know that they've lost their whole piece of their vision, their mission, their strategy in life. That's our job. If we're not able to recognize this in the people we work with, the people we work around, the people that we're supposed to be leading, then we're not doing our job. We're not doing our due diligence. We're just not doing it. We're just living there. That's why I'm saying that when I heard him say these things, that leaders are among the living, not among the stuck, I kind of got excited because I thought to myself, how many leaders are stuck? This week I'm going to be out and about, and I'm going to be doing some more interviewing. And I guarantee you, I'm going to work with leaders all week long, and I'm going to ask them, where are you stuck? Are you stuck on yourself? Are you stuck in excuses? Do you still have an imagination? I'm going to ask them questions. I'm going to encourage you, the listening body out there, to think about it. I'm going to encourage you to give me a call or an email and let me know where you're stuck. Let me know how you're handling it. Let me know if you need some help. Here at Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training Development, that is what we're here for you. And we're here. You can give me a call at 727-422-1833. You can go and send me an email, dick@ewfw.org. Pretty darn simple. You know what? This is an important piece. There's no doubt about it to me that there are leaders who are stuck. There are leaders who are stuck in this whole piece of no vision, no mission, and no strategy to make it happen. There are leaders who are stuck in the past and stuck on themselves. If you see yourself in this conversation today, realize it's not all about you. But is it? Like I told you before, I'm very fortunate. I have a partner who, when I get stuck on myself, she tells me. When I get stuck on excuses, she reminds me. When I get stuck on comparing, she lets me know. Having someone who is around you, who is a good enough friend or compatriot or spouse or whatever, they have the ability to let you know when you've gone too far or when you've gone far enough. That's an important piece. You see, we all need coaches. We all need mentors. We all need other people. And as leaders, there are times when I've heard leaders say, gee, it's a lonely place here at the top. If you're saying that, you need to talk to us because you're doing it wrong. You should never be that lonely. There will be times when you need to make decisions and only you will have to make them. But you're going to have a team to go and bounce those decisions off of, to do better discernment to make those decisions. That's what this is all about. So don't get stuck. Get unstuck. And get unstuck by helping one another through life's simple opportunities. Now, I see my time is coming to a close, and so on behalf of myself, Dick Powell, and the whole Leadership Corner team, I want to say thank you for being a part of today's program. Our goal is that you have received a nugget of wisdom and guidance that will help you become a better leader. Now, if you have a comment on today's program, don't hesitate. Please give us a call, 727-422-1833. If I don't answer, leave me a message and I'll get back to you ASAP. Send me an email, dick@ewfw.org. Heck, send me a text to the cell phone number, 727-422-1833. Go to the website, www.ewfw.org, and look around and click on that little box and send me a note. And when you're ready to have me come and do a seminar on leadership and accountability, give me a call because we get booked up really quick. But until next time, DW the Wrangler saying, ride hard, ride fast.